Hi, my name is Hank Schreier, the author of The Natural Networker. Over my shoulder, you see a picture of the YMCA here in Jerusalem, surrounded by many cranes. When I came to Israel in 2006, I knew virtually no one in this country. The first thing I did was go to a networking meeting where I met the artist of that picture, whose name is Mike Darnell. In the first 3 days after meeting Mike, I had managed to get him a referral that generated $40,000 worth of business for him. When he came to my home for the first time, he asked me if I was crazy. I said, well, why do you ask that? He said, well, what do you have on your walls? And I said, paint. He said, I know, but this house looks so barren. I said, well, Mike, for me, it's more than full of furniture. This is the way I like it. And he said, you can't have things not be on the wall. I said, great. Let me commission you to make me a painting that is emblematic of the city of Jerusalem. So when he gave me the painting, I said, Mike, I don't quite understand this. Help me to understand. He said, well, the architect who built this building took the culture and the architecture from Jewish culture, from Christian culture, and from Muslim culture, and combined them into a single unified building. And that's why, since this is a multicultural city and a multi-religious city, this building would be emblematic of the city of Jerusalem. I said, well, I'm from Nebraska, and to me, that building is very much reminiscent of the state capitol that's found in Lincoln, Nebraska, but so be it. As we continue to talk about networking, Mike said to me, sort of as a joke, so when you want credibility, write a book. I said, okay. Mike said to me, you are crazy enough to do this, aren't you? And I said, yes, but only if you're crazy enough to do the cover for me. So before I sat down to write a single word, Mike had begun the cover design. The book, which answers the eternal question for you, why should I network, is one of the main things that you will have answered when you read it. The book covers a broad spectrum of why to network, how to network, and what to do. So let me share one of the stories with you from the book. I call it the $30 pants. One of the first jobs that I had out of school was selling men's clothing. I worked at a store called Lemmers and Ryan that had been run by a gentleman named Jerry Ryan and Pat Lemmers. Jerry had been my boss at the Nebraska Clothing Company. Anyway, a gentleman walks into the store. It's obvious that he has had coffee spilled on his pants, and he says to me, I have a problem. I need to get on an airplane in 2 hours, and I need a pair of pants. Can you help me out? So we went to the rack. We picked out a pair of Navy Champion slacks, which at that time sold for $30. He said, I need them fixed, and I need you to deliver them to me at the airport. Well, this is in the dark ages before TSA and before other things got in our way. It was my lucky day because it was the day the shop was paying our tailor, Reno. Now, asking Reno for a favor, like doing something right away, was tantamount to asking, in today's terminology, the Republicans and the Democrats to be civil to each other. Not likely to happen. So I said, I really need your help. We have a customer who has this. By the way, here's your check. Reno begrudgingly put the finish on the bottom of the pants. Now, it did take him 4 minutes. So I grabbed the pants, got in my car, became colorblind, didn't look at stoplights, drove like a crazy person to Epley Airfield, parked my car, left it running, ran inside, and threw the pants to this gentleman, literally as he was climbing the steps to get on his airplane. When I got back to the store, my boss, Jerry, was laughing hysterically. I said, Jerry, what's so funny? He said, Hank, do you know who that was? I said, yes, the man's name was Conrad Young. He's a very nice guy. He had a spill on his pants. He needed some help. Jerry is laughing almost to the point of crying. He said, Hank, do you know who that is? I repeated myself, and for the third time he said, do you have any idea who that is? I said, no. He said, Hank, you just chased the president of United of Omaha to the airport and threw a pair of pants to him as he got on an airplane. To which I said, do I still work here? And he said, I guess we'll find out when Conrad gets back. 10 days later, Conrad walks into the store wearing his $30 pants, and he walks right up to Jerry, who he's known for probably at that point more than 20 years. And he says, Ryan, I'm never buying another stitch of clothing from you as long as I live. So I went, started packing up my things, started getting ready to leave. Turns around, he says, I'm buying everything from him, and he points to me. Over the next few years, Conrad must have sent me over $100,000 worth of business from various people at United of Omaha and Mutual of Omaha. He said, look, anybody who will kill themselves over $30 pants has earned my business. Now, when I chased him to the airport, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what would be in it for me in the long run, but I had learned that taking care of a customer would have benefits that you can't necessarily look at. So when you read this book, you're going to read how to network and why to network in story form. There are lots of anecdotes from lots of different people all over the place that you'll enjoy. At the end of the chapter are the key points from each place and each element of the chapters. Now, one of the unusual things that you will see in the front of the book is a place for you to write and your friends to write 18 names. This is a place where I've asked people to pet the book on to other people. After all, what good is a book on networking if it can't become a networking vehicle in and of itself? So when you read this book, you are reading things from a perspective of real-world experiences, and most importantly, we tell you why networking works. Here are a couple of things to take into consideration. When you speak to people, please do yourself a favor and avoid first-person pronouns. When you look at things from the other person's perspective, you will instantly gain their respect and credibility. Try this. When you walk up to introduce yourself, instead of saying, hi, my name is Hank Schreier, try this. Say, hi, and your name is, and look them in the eye. What you've just said is that you, the person I'm speaking to, are at least as important as I am. And you've told the person very quickly that you want to know who they are. When you really want to throw this person for a loop, say to them, who is the one person on this planet that you would like to meet that will most help your business? Please be specific. I'm looking for the name of one human being that you can be connected to. And this exercise was done here in Jerusalem. So we turned to the first person and we said, who would you like to meet? Now the person said, I'd like to meet the CEO at Google. Now, we're a room of 50 people, 8,000 miles away from Google. So the question was raised, does anybody in the room have that connection? Well, it turned out that somebody did. The next person got up and said, I'd like to meet, and he gave the name of a very famous rabbinic scholar here in Israel, who, because of his time, is very difficult to get a hold of. Someone said, is there anyone in the room that can help to connect me? This person very shyly raises his hand and he says, it just so happens that this rabbi is my uncle. I'll be happy to connect you. Those two are a little far-fetched, and I said, okay, those are possibilities. The third person gets up and says, I want to meet the Pope. Now, we're in Jerusalem in a room full of largely Jewish people. There are 30 of us there. what do you think the chances are that somebody could connect somebody to the Pope? A funny thing happened to me when I got my first apartment here in Israel. The person who owned the apartment has a lovely wife who happens to be the head of pediatrics for the Archdiocese of New York. She, as part of her job, frequently travels to the Vatican, has the connection. We put the people together. I'm not sure that you could find 3 less likely things to turn into referrals. But you know what? You never know until you ask. Perhaps the person you're talking to may not know, but may know someone who does. Now, when you ask that question of someone, be prepared for there to be silence, but also understand the power of what you just said. What you have said effectively is, how can you be connected to the person that you want to meet? When you give of yourself first, when you give without expecting anything back, and when you understand that the key to being an effective networker is to give first, those in networking organizations who are the top givers of referrals are typically the top recipients of referrals because people respect you. So one last free tip, and then please click the button below to buy your copy of The Natural Networker. Here's the final tip. When you are in a networking group like BNI or Business Networking International, which is an excellent hard contact organization, strive to be the person who gives the most legitimate referrals. Look at your world in 360. Look all around you. Be thinking every day, who can I connect to who? It can be for business, it can be for fun, it can be trying to bring a man and a woman or any kind of couple together. Always look for ways to give people referrals. Don't be afraid to ask. This, I promise, is the last story. A week or so ago, I was walking into a place where I get money changed here in Jerusalem. I met a gentleman, we started talking, he needed some guidance, we walked to the old city. I took him to a store where he was able to get some wonderful jewelry for his wife, his daughter, and his son. He told me that he was in the environmental business. And as a result of an offhand, and I admit, flip comment that I made because his son happened to be wearing a shirt from Hollister, California, 2 people that I know have a very good potential to find opportunities for jobs and to further their career and improve their lives. All 3 people in this situation win. Create situations where everybody has an advantage. When you give a referral, do not, in this lifetime, in the one to come, until hell freezes over the second time, let anybody pay you a fee or a commission. Because when you give a referral, only thinking about what is good for the person both giving and receiving the referral, can you truly do a great job for all concerned. As I said, the link to buy the book is below. Read the book, enjoy the book, email me and tell us, or tell me please, how it helped you to improve. And even though you may, in a sense, be keeping another person from buying the book, pass it on to somebody else. Help somebody. This is a book that was written not necessarily as a money-making venture, but as one that gives me an opportunity to use my God-given talent and give back to other people. Thank you for buying and enjoying the book. And remember, to get what you desire in this lifetime, give the people in your life what they desire first.